Hello, it's Jo here from Shalem Health Retreat, and on the menu today we have a very, very delicious shepherd's pie. And this recipe actually comes from this cookbook that was produced by a friend of mine, Casey Duke. It's called Wholesome Homemade, and Casey actually published this cookbook at the tender age of 19. And I'm going to put in the description below where you can get this cookbook. It's full of fantastic, nutritious, tasty, very simple, good old-fashioned meals to make for the whole family. There's desserts in there, salads, main meals, soups, spreads. It's chock-a-block full of very, very yummy recipes. So yeah, check that out, Wholesome Homemade. And every time I make this shepherd's pie, people just rave over it. They absolutely love it. So well done, Casey, for producing a fantastic recipe. Even those who really love their meat, when they try this shepherd's pie, they find it just so incredibly tasty. So I encourage you to definitely make this shepherd's pie at home. Very, very simple, as you'll see. So we're going to start with 2 cups of lentils. So this shepherd's pie has lentils as the base. So green lentils, we're just going to pop 2 cups in the pot like that. This is so simple, this recipe. Everything goes in the pot and then we're just going to cook it. We've got an onion that we've diced up and 2 cloves of garlic going in there for our flavour. And then we want to add 4 carrots that I've just diced up. So I don't peel mine. The peel is good to have. Just give them a wash and then just dice them up. You could put them in the Thermomix or the food processor. That would be quicker, just to give them a quick blitz. And then we've got a red capsicum that I've chopped up as well. We're going to add to this. Beautiful, beautiful colours and flavours in this recipe. Now the herbs we're going to add, we're going to add a couple of bay leaves to this recipe, and we also have some oregano, some basil, so a teaspoon of oregano, 2 teaspoons of basil, and a teaspoon of sage, and 2 teaspoons of Celtic salt. So delicious flavours there. You can experiment, play around with the flavours that you like. You can add other herbs and spices to this recipe, but this is what we are going to be using today. And then it's just 4 cups of water. So very simple. All we do is put that on to boil and then bring it down to a simmer. And once all of the water has been absorbed by the lentils, and those lentils are soft, then we'll come back and show you the next part of the recipe. All right, well, the base for our beautiful shepherd's pie has finished cooking. As you can see, all of that liquid has been absorbed by the lentils. And now we just want to add a couple of tubs of tomato paste. And that's just going to give us that beautiful, rich, tomatoey flavour. And this is just such a delicious shepherd's pie that everyone that tries this, they are just amazed at how good whole food, plant-based eating really is. You certainly are not missing out on flavour. So we'll just mix the tomato paste in, and then we're just going to pop it in a Pyrex dish, and then I'll show you how to make the mash, which to me is the best part of this whole recipe. All right. Now, you don't have to make this amount. It does make a large amount in this big Pyrex dish here. You could actually halve the recipe. And it does freeze, although I find that potatoes, are not the best veggie when it comes to freezing, but you can certainly freeze the lentil part of the recipe and then make the mash up fresh on the day. That's certainly something that you can do. All right, so let me just move this out of the way and pop this into our dish here. And as you can see, it's very thick. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of watery, runny shepherd's pie. I like my shepherd's pie to be moist, yes, but not overly liquidy. And if you're the same, then you will really like this recipe. Of course, you can add more water if you want it to be a bit runnier, but this just makes a beautiful base. Now, these lentils that we've cooked up, you can have these on toast, on beautiful whole grain bread, and they make a fantastic breakfast, lentil breakfast dish as well. So very versatile. Use your imagination and see how else you might be able to use these lentils. All right, so we're just going to set that aside and I'll show you how to make the mash. Now, the beautiful thing about this mash is that it's non-dairy, but it's extremely creamy because we are using cashews. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, when you start to cook whole food, plant-based foods, cashews will become your best friend in the kitchen. Make sure that they're raw, not salted, no added fat or oil. All the fat you need is in the cashew, and it's as God intended for it to be. We're not refining the oils, we're not taking the oils out of the cashew, we're just using them in the way that they were packaged up by God to give us. So we've got a cup of cashews that we're going to pop in there. We're going to use some soy milk. So I've got 1.5 cups of soy milk. That's just going to go into the Thermomix. Now, I've saved 1 cup of the potato water, the water that we cook the potatoes in. That's just going to give us added flavour. That's going to go in the Thermomix as well. And our seasonings, we've got garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of onion powder, and 2 teaspoons of Celtic salt. And as I've mentioned on previous videos, I get my onion and garlic powder from Gourmet Organic. So if you Google Gourmet Organic, if you're living in Australia, I definitely recommend their onion and garlic powder. The flavour is intense. There are no additives, no preservatives, nothing else, just pure onion and garlic that's been dehydrated and ground up. And I can tell you now, you will definitely notice an improvement in the flavour of your food when you use the onion powder and garlic powder from Gourmet Organics. Right, so we're going to pop that in the Thermomix as well and then give it a quick whiz. Okay, so we've just made the liquid for our mash. We've used cashews. That's going to give it the creaminess, the creamy texture and flavour that we like our mash to be, but without the dairy, without the cholesterol, without the saturated fat, without all of those other proteins that are found in dairy milk that our gut really does find difficult to digest. So let us have a look at that. Oh, that is looking amazing. So there's our beautiful cashew cream that's been flavoured with garlic powder, onion powder and salt. And people love this mash. So you don't just have to use this on the shepherd's pie. You can use it just as a mash with veggies and any savoury meal that you might want to make. You can also use it as a mayonnaise. You can actually pop it on the stove and thicken it up because cashews act as a thickener, and it will be a delicious mayonnaise as well. But today we're going to use it as a dairy cream replacement for our mash. So I'm just going to mash these up. Okay, so I've mashed our mashed potato, and I'm now going to show you a little trick as to how to get it onto the top of our lentils here very quickly and very easily. I just use one of these ice cream scoops, and that's going to get it on there in no time at all and just give it that beautiful look about it. Now, I actually don't peel my potatoes when I mash them because you actually can't really see that they haven't been peeled. And of course, we want the goodness of the peel. And I think it just gives it a beautiful texture as well. And as you can see, this mash is quite liquidy. It's not that thick, but what it does is once it goes in the oven, it gives it a really beautiful fluffy texture on the inside. And once we've popped it in the oven, it gives it a beautiful crispy brownie texture on the outside. So it's amazing, I can tell you. Now, lentils, we all know, are a humble little food, but they're a powerhouse of nutrition. They're actually very high in iron. A lot of people don't know that, but we tend to think of lentils as being, or any legume as being, very good for our protein source, our plant proteins, which they are indeed, and for fibre, but they're really, really good for iron. So I would encourage you to add lentils to your diet if you're lacking iron. Now, when you do eat lentils or any food that is high in iron, you want to make sure that you're getting a vitamin C food with that iron food. So, for example, when I serve this, I would serve it with a beautiful green salad, which I would just pour over that some lemon juice, because then you're getting your vitamin C in the lemon juice, and that is going to help absorb that iron into the body. So iron, if you want to enhance the absorption of iron that you're taking in from your diet, then ensure that you have a vitamin C food that you're eating along with it, such as lemon juice in a salad, or you could even have raw red capsicum. Red capsicum is very high in vitamin C. We've actually put capsicum in this recipe, but when it gets cooked, that vitamin C is destroyed. So you just need to eat that capsicum raw. And who doesn't love red capsicum in salads? Yum. All right, doesn't that look just amazing? And I like to finish that off with a little bit of paprika, just to give it a beautiful look. And then we're going to pop that in the oven for about 45 minutes to 55 minutes. And that's going to brown up that potato. I mean, everything's cooked already, so we don't really need to do that. But I love that potato to be crispy and crunchy on the outside and beautifully fluffy and smooth and creamy on the inside. And I'm sure you will agree with me, if you were to make this recipe, that it is amazing. All right, I'm just going to pop it in the oven now, and I will bring it back to show you the finished product. Well, our shepherd's pie has just come out the oven, and I have to say it is looking amazing and it smells sensational. And so I would serve this with steamed veg or a beautiful crisp garden salad. And I can guarantee you that your friends and family are going to love this dish. It's packed full of goodness, whole plant food nutrition, packed full of flavour, as I'm sure you'll find when you make it, and just a very simple dish to make. And so these are the three things that I look for in a recipe. And yeah, I hope you will go ahead and make this amazing shepherd's pie, thanks to my friend Casey Duke, who made up this recipe. So there you go, shepherd's pie.